So I think everyone just kind of takes a shit.
Yeah, their site's down. I checked theirs yesterday. They don't have anything. They have stuff from last year.
And then talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get this thing rolling. Uh-huh.
Welcome everyone to, yes, this isn't live in our field. This is the University of Windsor Stadium. Your eyes do not deceive you. This is the Windsor Fratmen football, and this is your heavyweight tilt of the week here in the OFC. The unbeaten Windsor Fratmen sitting at 5-0, taking on the 5-1 Hamilton Hurricanes. Brian Thompson, along with Bidi Kawal, along for the ride here. And Bidi, this is the matchup we have been waiting for in Windsor all season. There's only two teams in the OFC with a winning record.
Yeah, these two teams here are or have been the class of the league the last few seasons, and the earlier season matchup I believe was decided by a single touchdown. It's really been the only competitive game for Windsor pretty much all season long, and like you said, it is a heavyweight tilt, and this one's probably going to decide a lot moving forward with respect to home field and playoff seeding.
Hamilton coming off a home with the Ottawa Sooners, winning 28-26 at home, and then going all the way up to Ottawa for a 21-4 victory. Of course, the Windsor Fratmen you saw here last week on WeTV, 44-7 victors over the London Beefeaters. Big stakes tonight. A win tonight for the Windsor Fratmen will guarantee them home field throughout the playoffs, given that OFC regular season crown that they've won the past few years. Hamilton needs to win this game tonight and have the point differential as the tiebreaker if they want to secure home field throughout. But both teams, they know they have home field through the semifinals. They're waiting to see. There's a three-team race between London, Ottawa, and GTA. They're sitting all at 2 and 3. Niagara is out of the playoff race now. But this is the matchup I've especially been waiting for because Hamilton's had to come here a few times. Of course, they missed the title game last year, but this has been the title game for the past 4 years almost.
It has been, and part of the reason why is because the continuity of the coaching staff and the players there. They've established themselves. Most of these players have played against each other for a number of years now. The tradition has been set for both programs, two long-standing programs here in the Ontario Football Conference. And quite frankly, they are the two best teams. And like you said, I am looking forward to this as well. Should be a good matchup. We have a beautiful night here. And like you said, we're here at Alumni Field at the University of Windsor. Given the craziness of the state of emergency here in Windsor and Tecumseh with all the flooding we've had.
Yeah, you can't tell by the shots here right now. It's an absolutely beautiful day. It's just been a little bit murky and with the clouds, but not too much rain. But if you're having lived under a rock, basically, Windsor starting on Wednesday and especially Thursday hit with an absolute torrential rain. All the city's fields pretty much flooded. A lot of the high school games moved out to the county and surrounding areas. Um, and there was no way this game was happening at La Jeunesse. I've been told up to 6 inches of water there. Of course, they'll have time in the next 2 weeks before their home finale against the Niagara Raiders. But, you know, if you're going to play if there's any good that comes out of this, we're under the lights. We haven't had a game under the lights in a couple years, but
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been a big fan of playing under the lights. Even my high school team plays all their home games under the lights. It's just the atmosphere. It's that Friday night lights concept. And it doesn't matter at what level. This is where you want to play. You want to be the showcase game under the lights. Doesn't matter what field. But you want to play in front of a crowd where people they've already eaten dinner. This is their night out. And they're going to be treated to some pretty good football here in the Ontario Football Conference.
of course, earlier action here, there was a football game. The Windsor Lancers winning their home game against Toronto earlier today. And just down the road, Michigan winning their big football game against Wisconsin. So they're hoping home teams keep it up for some good football as Prem Dahana is getting ready to kick this off. And we are just about to get set underway here at Alumni Field at the University of Windsor. Here we go. The battle for first place in home field is underway. Ball picked up by Tyler Swick. He runs down the sidelines. Tiptoes, keep it up. He could go. Can he get caught at the 20, at the 10? Dive, no! Touchdown! Oh, who saw that coming? A good effort by Dante Fornicero to catch up, but that is an opening kickoff touchdown by Tyler Swick.
That wasn't actually a really good kick. Even though it didn't have the height that you might want, he put that kick at the 10-yard line, just inside the number to the boundary. And you don't ever expect a return to go straight up that same sideline when all the pursuit's coming there. The containment just wasn't there. And just a terrible start for the home Fratmen.
16 seconds that entire play took. A 100-yard kickoff as the extra point is kicked by Johnny Raquel, and it is good. So this is a Fratman team who's never used to playing from behind, and already before the offense gets on the field, before anyone's offense gets on the field, it's 7-0 for Hamilton.
Yeah, we have a couple flags on the field. I'm pretty sure this is going to be against the Fratmen on the extra point. One of the looked like the linebackers attempted to propel and launch over the line of scrimmage. You can indeed hurdle as long as you don't come into contact. And you see Mr. Whited indicate that there's rough play against Windsor, and there are two rough plays against Windsor, and they're both going to be enforced on the kickoff. And that being said, that means it's going to move up 30 yards. The first one for sure was propelling. That he tried to jump over him. If you clear everybody, that's fine. If you land on any of the linemen, they will call that every single time for player safety purposes, and that's exactly what happened. The second one, I'm not sure what that call was for, but my guess is it was probably some sort of taunt or some sort of just late hit, and now you're going to see the ball move up. Usually kicked from the 45-yard line, and now you're going to see this march well into the Fratman end. And there you go. You see the ball now coming into our screen. It's spotted. And you have Hamilton kicking off from the 35-yard line. And there's the indication once again. Rough play, second rough play, move it up 30 yards.
It's almost target practice here for a field goal.
You're correct, but this is a tough one now. My guess is if you're Hamilton, you're going to do some sort of onside, some
Why
sort of
not?
moonshot. Because big deal if you don't get it, you're still pinning them inside their own 30-yard line. And as you can see from the alignment here, it does look like Hamilton has more personnel to the kicking team's right, and the kicker is moving the ball to the left hash, which indicates he's going to try a high moonshot, probably stick this ball as high as he can and have it drop right around the 20-yard line.
6 Hurricanes to the right of Johnny Raquel. Now we can't hear each other. And he elects to, kick it high and far. But it's taken by Tyler Story. Tyler Story staying on his feet. Cuts up the middle looking for a block, and he'll be down at about the 22 yards on it. So now we'll see the Fratmen come onto the field, and for one of the very first times this season, I'm sure, playing from behind. But seems to be, not sure what the holdup is there.
Well, I think there's another penalty on the play. We do have an indication of an offsides. And as opposed to having him kick again and try another one of those short moonshots, the Fratmen are just going to take the ball as scrimmage from the 22-yard line and decline that penalty.
So we'll see what Fratmen can cook up here. As the fans really getting into it. There's some fan handoff. That's Cody. No, it's oh, that's not. That's Jacoby Jones. Big run up the middle, getting about 20 yards on the play, and nice first down there, Biddy.
Yeah, real nice run. Jacoby's a very talented ball carrier. He's averaging 5 yards a rush, as you see on our graphic. He's a nice complement to having the Bruiser and McCann, and they just hit him on a little ISO play, and he was able to cut back and find a seam for a 18-yard gain.
Resets it down once again to give it to Jones, and Jones going up the middle, trying to get through defenders. And another big run by Jacoby Jones. And already 2 plays in, they are inside Hurricane territory.
That's one of my favorite plays in all of football. It's just simple power. They take the off guard and lead him up, and once that off guard inserted there cleanly, Jacoby just followed him, didn't even get touched for the first 8-9 yards, and then he tried to cut and split the safeties for another big gain.
Homer Hayes-Williams to the right. They go with Kaw on his left. And once again, they just hand it off to Jacoby. This time Jacoby met at the line, gets about 1 yard on the play. It'll be second down.
Yeah, exact same play. This time they tried to go to the left. However, the end man on the line of scrimmage for the Hurricanes was able to squeeze down and sink. They didn't get much push from the left side of the offensive line, so that's why it limited it to a 1 yard gain.
They send out 4 wide. McCann and Jones in the backfield. Lumley staying in the shotgun. Play action. Throws it to the side. Gets it to Kaw, but just throws it over his hands. And it looks like they're going to send out the punt team here.
Yeah, they tried a little play action, maybe trying to boot with Austin, but he realized that he had to get rid of the ball pretty quickly, and he had his intended receiver open. That should have been a completion, quite frankly. He just sailed it a little bit, and the blocking was there. It could have turned into a first down or more. However, like you said, the Fratmen bring out their punt squad.
Brenda Hanna back. No, I'm sorry, that's Dan Fox on the punt. And that'll be downed at about the 18-yard line, and we get a flag. I think that's a 1 yard violation.
No,
No?
I don't think so, because he touched it in the air. That ball was not, no defender was anywhere near him. However, when he went to pick the ball up, he was on a knee already, so it was den ball. So we're getting a penalty that it appears to be a rough play, because he was already down trying to field the ball, picking it up on a knee, which you cannot do at any level except for professional football. We got another major foul against the Fratmen, so you're already looking at 45 yards worth of penalties, and we are 2.5 minutes into the game.
This is going to drive Coach Lassance nuts. Characteristically, the Fratmen have been a very disciplined team this season. So this is the first time out for the Hamilton offense. As we see Jake Marquette in at quarterback. He looks pass on his first play, going to Zeph Frazier. And a big kerfluffle. It's going to be close to the first down.
Yeah, there were a lot of bodies in that area. It looked like they flooded the offensive right. They put 4 receivers to the boundary side, to the field side, and it looked like they all ran just simple hooks. And the 3 receivers seemed to be on top of each other. I'm surprised that ball threaded in so easily, but it was a good gain, bringing up a second down and a long 1.
Officially, they rule it 2nd and 2. 3 men in the backfield. It's a handoff to Jarrell Gaddishaw. And he squeaks through for the first down, getting it all the way up to the 47-yard line.
Yeah, this young man's a good runner. He is, in my estimation, behind Cody McCann. He's probably one of the better running backs in the league. He's durable. He protects the ball. He's been in this league a lot of years now. He's more than capable of handling the rock, especially in critical situations where you only need a yard or so. He secures it, finds a gap, and scoots forward for about 4 yards, easily converting the first.
We have another referee conference here now. This is becoming too often already here in this first quarter.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they're conferencing about. There was no flag on the play. They might just be sort of talking to the teams. I don't know if it's a sideline warning of some sort, but Mr. Whited there, Todd Whited, wearing number 92, he's serving as our referee for the game. And now he's going to go to the sideline just to talk to the coach. And that's Chris Patton, who is the umpire today. And they both go and they talk it over. And now we're about to resume play.
We're getting told that there's possible lightning in the area, which, of course, in this area, it's been nothing but hectic weather all week, but we'll get as much football as we can in, and Jake Marquette just goes the handoff, and big hit there. Jarrell Gaddishaw getting met at the 50-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 2.
Yeah, the Fratmen defensive line is getting themselves just a little out of position. That's the linebackers having to come in and clean the mess here. You'd like to see the inside defensive tackle squat a little. As you see, that was Darren Quinnell who came down, and he's playing some defensive tackle. He's playing that 3 technique, so he got upfield, but fortunately he's quick enough to squeeze back down and make a tackle.
So 2nd and 8. And they just toss it out to Gaddishaw. And Gaddishaw absolutely nowhere to go. Good play there by Hunter Mina. And that'll send him back a yard, and it'll be 3rd down. And here comes the punt team for Hamilton.
Yeah, you'll see he just turns, tries a little bit of a swing. Probably was a lateral, but the Fratmen were in good position, and Hunter Mina was right there. He made sure. Just got to make sure you don't grab that back collar, because that was very close to it being a horse collar. But it wasn't, and now the Hurricanes are forced to punt in a 3rd and 10 situation.
Bit of a line drive punt to Tyler Story. Picks it up off the ground at the 30. But not too much real estate for him. He ends up making 5 yards out of nothing. And the Fratmen offense will come back on the field. 9:12 remaining here in the first quarter. Still remains 7-0 for the Hamilton Hurricanes.
And don't expect there to be a bunch of wild haymaker type throws. We started off the game with one, but I anticipate both teams are quite prepared. They're ready for this heavyweight battle. So you're going to have to see the team who's the most patient, sticking with their game plan, grinding it out, and taking the advantages when they arise, a mismatch against a linebacker, maybe with a receiver, or things along that nature.
Lumley out of the shotgun. Play action, going deep. He's got a man all alone. That's caught. That's Curtis Holmes. Busted out the Jets and scores. We got a flag in the backfield. We'll see if this stands, but what a bomb to Curtis Holmes by Austin Lumley. But I think this one's coming back, Biddy.
Yeah, they had 2 flags, so either somebody was lined up offside or somebody went offside, and that isn't the indication. The Fratmen went offside, and so much for my estimation of they're not going to see many fireworks and big slugfests. I didn't anticipate that to happen, but a receiver must have been offside. However, Austin threw a perfect pass. The coverage, obviously a breakdown, and Holmes is talented enough to take the ball once he has it in his hands. He has the speed to work his way up the field, and now you negate a giant touchdown, which in essence ties the game with the convert ensuing, and you pin the team back 5 yards, and now you're starting from your 30-yard line. It's just a critical mistake where the timing of things like that cannot happen, especially in a big battle like this. You can't have people offsides, especially if they're not influencing the play.
Coach Lassance standing off to the sides, not looking too happy as Lumley escapes out of the pocket, looking for an open man. He throws to the sideline. Bit of a dangerous throw there. Tyler Story trying to make something out of nothing. That'll bring up 2nd and long.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure in Austin's to his offensive right, which forced him to go left. I think Austin had enough time to possibly run for 5 or 6 yards, but he did see his big receiver. It looked like it was Story who was working his way back to the sideline, and you can never blame a quarterback who's trying to get one of the most explosive weapons, the ball in their hands.
So 2nd and 15 now. Ball at the 31-yard line. 3 receivers to the left of Lumley. Both Jones and McCann in the back. Empty backfield. Throw to the side, way over the head of Tyler Story. And this Fratmen offense just not clicking so far.
And we have another flag on the field. This came all the way from the back, Judge. I'm not 100% sure what the play is going to be, but there you see Austin's been extremely efficient with 12 touchdowns to 1 interception. But he's just a little off right now. His timing is just a little off. He needs to finish that throw, get his weight from the back to the front, and deliver it because the blocking was there. It was set up there, and this looks like another penalty against Windsor.
And it will be declined by Hamilton, I believe. Coach LaChance on the sidelines just furious, wanting a conference with the referees. I think Hamilton still hasn't even decided if they're declining this or not. As
Well,
Coach LaChance finally gets his conference, I believe. Nope.
I just want to know if they're calling this after the play. Because if it's after the play, they're going to walk this back 15 yards, and it's going to make it 3rd down. In that case scenario, it does appear.
So they do rule it 2nd down still.
No, they just changed the downs box. We have the kicker in. It is 3rd down, so it must have been after the play. So there's 20 yards on this series alone, plus the 45 earlier as you see a short kick off the right sideline.
Dan Fox just punting it out of bounds. So minus 20 yards on that drive for the Fratmen.
Yeah, so far you've had 65 yards in penalties. 4 major fouls at 15 yards each, and an offsides. And the offsides compounded by the fact that there was a touchdown on the play. This is just a disastrous start for Windsor, and Windsor can still lose this and own the tiebreaker, but they can only lose by 6 or less. Right now they won the first game by 7, so the margin can't be exceeding that number. And the way it looks like right now, Fratmen are just shooting themselves in the foot early in this game.
Hamilton gifted the 35-yard line on Windsor's end to start. As Marquette throw it deep to the end zone, caught. And he's going to be just short of the touchdown, I believe. I believe that was caught by number 15, Christian Pizzuti.
Good protection from the offensive line. You'll see a clean pocket here. Quarterback's able to set his feet, see over the top. If you can have time to throw over the middle like that, you usually can complete it. And that ball was just short of the end zone line. But in Canada, if you weren't sure, it doesn't go and encroach inside the 1. The ball always starts at the 1-yard line going in. So
That was number 11, Zeph Fraser, on the catch there. So first and goal here, ball on the 1. And Jake Marquette just pushes through and the quarterback sneak. Referee looking for the spot.
And no indication yet, which is telling me that that ball is just short.
It is a stop.
It is a stop. And like I said, they don't even hold a mark. That ball goes back to the 1-yard line.
So second burst, same as the first here. It's just a little bit over 6 minutes remaining here in the first quarter.
I'd expect Gadashaw to handle the ball here.
Marquette with the handoff to Gadashaw, and Jurg called it, but he's straight into the end zone. And who saw this coming? Hamilton, 2-touchdown lead over the Windsor Fratmen here in the first quarter.
I definitely didn't see that. And you just see straight overload power, full house backfield. And you get a nice kick-out block from the lead blocker. That was number 5, John Rush, who also plays linebacker. And he opened up the hole for Gadashaw to walk into the end zone off the left side.
Extra point being taken by Johnny Raquel. And it's up and good, so hold on to your hats here, folks. Hamilton, a 14-0 lead with 6:10 remaining here in the first quarter. Coach LaChance has got to get his team on the sideline and regroup here, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to regroup. I just think it's a matter of not panicking, though. And trust me, they're not going to panic. Coach LaChance has been coaching for a lot of years. Coach Morency has been coaching forever. You're not going to have this Fratman sideline rattled just because they're down. They have enough firepower. A single mistake from Hamilton could flip this over. You already saw some of the explosive plays earlier. However, I will say this. If the Fratmen insist on taking penalties and shortening the field for Hamilton, this will be a long day or evening.
Hamilton getting set for the kick. They'll be taking at the 10-yard line. Running off to the side there, that's Terrence Williams. And Terrence Williams getting some open field on the left side. He's got one man to beat the kicker. And he's drived out by the kicker, Johnny Raquel. What a run there by Terrence Williams.
And that's the spark they needed. And fortunately, no flags on the field because that's been the early theme here.
Don't jinx it.
But special teams did a nice job of engaging their blocks. And the one thing I liked that Terrence did initially in his run, and you'll see him on the replay trying to work his way up the sideline, but before he worked up the left hash, he started going vertical up the right hash where he caught the ball, which brought all the coverage to him, and then he had the wheels to peel it off the left and get outside containment.
Hand off there to Jacoby Jones, looking for something, but that Hamilton defensive line just been swarming all day. Now stop right at the line of scrimmage for second down.
They have been swarming, and the one thing I am just a little surprised by right now is they haven't given the ball to McCann yet. McCann's the bruiser. McCann's the one that most of the linebackers just don't want to square up and try to tackle. That's Jacoby's, I believe, 3rd or 4th carry already, and they've tried a few passes.
Farouk Musa on the tackle there. Lumley throwing on second down. It's caught. That's Curtis Holmes. He had that earlier touchdown taken back, but that catch only gets him maybe a couple yards, and it'll be 3rd down here. And what does Coach Lassance do now?
I think he's going for it. I think that at this point I don't think it's a panic move. It's going to be close to a 40-yard field goal. not necessarily maybe their strength. I don't think Duhana can make this very consistently. Trying to punt and pin them in the coffin corner, they're already deep enough. I think you take a shot here and try to be aggressive with your play call.
They go with 2 receivers on both sides. Absent from that receiving core, though, is Tyler Story. He's usually good for those big gains. Lumley throwing, going deep end zone. And it is caught! And fighting inside, that's Joe Ellenberger. Gets it all the way down to the one, a behind the back catch by Joe Ellenberger.
I'm going to have to taper your enthusiasm. Fratmen were offside again, another receiver. Flight
Come
came out
on.
immediately. And that's an easy call. No question about it. I saw it from here. And I'm 150 feet away. Unquestionably, that indeed was an offsides. And here's your indication by the Fratmen. And it's going to make it a 3rd down and 13. Now, I mean, Coach LaChance is leaving the offense on the field again. However, you just made your job that much more difficult. You already converted it.
Two
odds are
huge offensive plays negated by penalties. One was a score, the other would have most definitely been a score, and now you're left with a 3rd and 12. Lumley, empty backfield. Same play to Ellenberger going deep, but overthrows him by about 5 yards. And that'll be a turnover on downs with 3:45 remaining here in the first quarter.
Yeah, and Ellenberger, as talented as he is, he's got that big frame, much like a Gronkowski. He's a tight end frame. But he just ran vertical the last play, 30 yards. He did his job the first time around. He probably doesn't have that recovery speed to get going again, and unfortunately the penalty cost them dearly once again, and that is no one to blame other than the Fratmen personnel, period.
2 drives, negative 20 yards gained by the Windsor Fratmen. And now here come Hamilton. They load up the left side, 4 receivers. Seeing some lightning in the area is Marquette throwing up the middle, and that's caught. That's David Dean Jr. And there's a fumble on the play. Fratmen recover on the 42. Well, there's a turn of events.
Yeah, that's, in this case scenario, the receiver, I believe it was
Robert Dundura comes up with the ball.
Yeah, and I believe it was number 2 there catching the ball for Hamilton, David and Denerin Jr., and he just was driving, trying to get some extra yards, and it was just pulled out. And the key here is protecting the ball, and you saw Dundara rip and strip and recover it. Let's
So the
see if
Fratmen will try this again.
Sorry, Brian.
No,
Let's see
don't
if the Fratmen can turn this into points.
Ball will be spotted at the 42-yard line. And it's just a handoff to who else? Jacoby Jones. And he'll get that first down.
Yeah, straight ISO. Cody McCann leads through the gap, finds a linebacker, and you see Jacoby just lower his shoulder and pick up a big chunk of yards. I think he picked up 11 full, and that gives the Fratmen a first down at the 31-yard line going in.
So reset the downs. 2 receivers on both sides. Handoff, and once again it's Jones. Jones doesn't like to go around the sides. He likes to fight for those yards. He'll pick up only a couple on the play. But
Yeah.
you talk about Cody McCann being the workhorse. It's Jacoby Jones so far today.
So far, you are correct, and the key here is maybe they're setting something up simply because teams are keying on McCann so often and early. I have a hard time believing you're not going to see much, but I do see Cody McCann limping, so maybe he's nursing an injury we just don't know about.
Pass up the side, but that's way too high for Omar Hayes-Williams. Gets a hand on it, but can't come down. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, and you'll see Austin here. He just doesn't finish. His whole body's open at that point of attack. That was a good angle from our camera crew. He needs to be able to square his shoulders, get his shoulders aimed as his target so he, much like a pitcher, can come off the mound, if you will, and push forward and drive that ball. If it doesn't, it will sail. And every throw thus far has sailed.
3rd and 6 on the 27-yard line. Huge play for the Fratmen here. Play action. Lumley under pressure, and he goes down. Nothing doing for this Fratmen offense, especially inside Hamilton territory. And that'll be the 2nd straight turnover on downs.
Yeah, that was immediate pressure. There was 2 guys off Austin's right, and they got right into his face. And even with the pump fake, Austin had no choice but to tuck it under, and the pressure was there immediately, and that was just not very good protection. So I know Coach Matt Morency is going to have to sit down with his linemen and shore that up to make sure that they get their assignments all squared away so that Austin's going to have some time to deliver a throw.
Definitely seeing some lightning, but it's heading away from the stadium. Hopefully no problems as they go the handoff. That's Gadashaw. And he tight ropes the 30-yard line, but he's going to end up losing a couple yards on this play. It'll be 2nd down.
Yeah, that was a very good job by the Fratmen force unit. They clearly created some spill, and they forced Gadashaw to turn his shoulder sideways. He is not what you call a blazer from the backfield. He wants to keep his shoulders square and get downhill, and he was unable to do that on that play. And that is going to be a win for the Fratmen defense all the time if they can get him running to the sideline first.
Coach LaChance and Austin Lumley having a very spirited conversation on the sidelines. We have 2nd and 12 with 30 seconds remaining in the shotgun. Toss up the middle and bobbled on the play. It'll be incomplete. That's number 2, David Adederan Jr.
It was a good throw, and he hit him right in stride. That was right in his mitts, and he bobbled it moving forward. That would have easily been enough for a 1st down, and he would have been approaching the midfield stripe. However, that mistake is going to force the visiting Hurricanes into a punting situation.
So the clock will run with 20 seconds left. Punt off the end of the foot there. Tyler Story will pick it up anyways. Flag on the play. Story gets maybe about 3 yards.
You'll see 5 yards added to that, which means the Fratmen will start this scrimmage at the midfield stripe. That was a bounce back, 5-yard, no yards. And here you see the indication, no yards against the Hurricanes. They're going to walk it up 5 yards, and it will be right on the midfield stripe.
So this will most likely be the last play of the 1st quarter. A 1st quarter the Fratmen would definitely like to forget. Ball starting right on the 55-yard line. Lumley, 2 men in the backfield. Gives it to Cody McCann, his first carry of the day. And he'll get about 5 yards on the play, and that'll do it for the 1st quarter. So all Hamilton here in the 1st quarter. 2 big plays by the Fratmen, negated by penalties, and after 1 quarter of play, Hamilton Hurricanes lead 14-0. You're watching Windsor Fratmen football on WeTV.
Yeah, I think actually, Brian.
It's the feeling you get when it all rushes back.
Welcome back here on WeTV for Windsor Fratmen football. And we really hope you just caught that Tyler Story catch. He gets absolutely nailed right at the point of the catch. And it is a first down. Big gain by Tyler Story, and that'll hopefully kickstart this Fratmen offense.
You are correct. That was an absolute punishing hit and a wonderful catch. A good throw in a position where only Tyler could catch it, but the safety came over and delivered a devastating shot.
So 1st and 10 on the 14-yard line for Lumley. And he just gives it to Jones. Jones pounds at the middle, fumble. And oh no, the Hurricanes come up with the ball on the 5-yard line. The Hamilton end is just cursed for the Fratmen so far tonight, and we have a flag on the play too. What do we see here, Biddy?
Well, it was just an insert run, and this time I would have liked to seen Jacoby actually follow his lead block. He had DeMarcus Ware working out the outside. He instead just decided to stick his nose inside, and he paid the price this time because the linebacker came in field and got that hat right on the ball, and the ball popped right out immediately and right into the arms of a Hurricane defender, and now they're going to scrimmage. There was a penalty. It was a major penalty. It's going to be enforced. It amounts to about a 4-yard penalty, but Hamilton now has to scrimmage from the 1-yard line. You really need the defense to brace themselves here and force a safety to at least get some points, having penetrated the Hurricane defensive end so deep.
Here's the drive chart so far for the Fratmen. Punt, punt, turnover on downs, fumble. Not good so far as Jake Marquette, standing deep in his own end zone, goes shotgun on 1st down, just heaves it down the sidelines looking for a receiver. And it is caught. What a catch there by Johan Jenkins. There's going to be flag on the play. I'm not sure if it's pass interference on the offense or defense. We'll hopefully see on the replay here.
I don't know. I'd like to see the other side. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. They called a push off. They called an offensive interference, and that's why I wanted to see if I could see the other angle. It did look like the receiver extended and turned his body and cut off the route of the defender who was trying to work back to the ball, and that's why I wasn't 100% sure. Another angle might have shown us that, but that was good defensive position for the Fratmen, and that was number 21, Javier Buckley, and he was in a good spot to defend that pass.
Coach Morency giving some instructions to Adam Chin on the sidelines, possibly an adjustment.
Now, although it looked like they initially spotted it as a reception, it was indeed incomplete, so the Fratmen did indeed decline that. It is 2nd and 10.
Well, it looked impressive anyways.
Correct.
They load up the right side. Do my ears deceive me and I hear a tomahawk chop in the crowd?
Yeah, see, right now you got to delay because Coach Hayes from the Hurricanes would like to discuss why this is 2nd down. He thought it was a completion because it looked like one of the officials made a mark or indicated that there was a spot when in essence it was not a completed pass.
This has been very confusing, especially from a referee standpoint. Almost all the big plays in this game been turned over on flags. As you see Coach Morency there wanting his defense to stiffen up a bit. And it looks like we might get the 2nd down underway.
Yeah, and the call stood. It was an incomplete pass. It is 2nd down and 10.
Referees often don't change their mind. Marquette. Oh, good play there by Gadashaw to recover on that snap. And Jarrell Gadashaw turning what could have been a disaster into a 35-yard gain.
Wow, that was a disaster. Clearly avoided mishandled snap. Ball goes right through the quarterback's hands, maybe bounced off his, and it went right to Gadashaw. And next thing you know, he squirts through the line, And once the ball was mishandled, all the Fratmen start converging, so they lose their lane integrity. They're thinking there's a live ball, free ball. Gadashaw just doesn't panic, and like I said, he's a veteran. He will not likely get rattled, and he turned a huge negative into a big positive, moving the ball all the way to the 35-yard line.
I'm sure they'll say that was designed that way. Fooled the defense. Spread offense here. Just goes to a simple handoff to Adderan. And he fights his way up to the 45-yard line. That'll be really close to that first down.
Yeah, the Hurricanes emptied the backfield and ran a simple jet sweep here, and they were able to get the defenders inside, and that was number 2, who is one of the most talented players for the Fratmen, Hunter Mina, who snuck inside and didn't keep containment, and that made it very easy for the ball carrier to break the edge. I'm pretty confident if you get a insert like that from Hunter Mina, who's playing that end, if he were to have been replaced by a linebacker skating over the top, but there was just no containment there. Easy run of 8 yards.
2nd and 2 for the Hurricanes on the 43-yard line. Once again, they hand off to Adderan. And that's going to be more than enough for the first down. Good run there. Nothing fancy by Adderan. Just finds those holes.
But what you are getting from the Hurricanes offensive line up front is some movement. And anytime you get some movement, any kind of push, it doesn't always have to be straight vertical, any kind of horizontal movement, it creates some seams. And with the Hurricanes just trying to run downhill with some pace there, once you exploit a seam, it's easy to pick up 4 or 5 yards, and that's exactly what they had there to get the first down.
So fresh set of downs, ball spotted at the 48. Back to pass throw, and oh, what a hit by Story, but that is a completion. Number 38 on the play, Doug Granger. Story almost leaving his feet there for that hit.
Yeah, and in this case scenario, just a good completion. Quarterback saw some pressure. He did not panic. He was able to exploit the middle of the field. And that is an area in Canadian football that if you have a good tall quarterback who can see the middle of the field, the game is a lot easier when you can throw to the middle of the field.
Longest drive of the game so far by either team at 6 plays. And we have a timeout taken by the Hurricanes, their first timeout, with 11:28 remaining here in the second quarter. Want to remind everyone, of course, in 2 weeks' time, after the Fratmen return from London in their game next week, we will have coverage of the regular season finale taking on the Niagara Raiders, hopefully back at a dry La Jeunesse Field. Game time at 2 o'clock. You can catch all the action here on we-tv.ca. And, of course, stay tuned. The playoffs will be happening. We know there will be at least the semifinals will be happening in Windsor for sure, likely on October 21st. Still waiting to see that 3-team playoff race, Obedy, and who's going to sneak in. Only 2 of those teams can get in. Niagara's season effectively over.
Yeah, and my guess is it's probably going to be London to complete the playoff picture. Ottawa, Hamilton, and Windsor, and London, they're the most established programs. My guess is it will be London. However, next week's game could play a big factor into deciding that, because the Fratmen do travel that 2-hour ride up the 401 to London to play the Beefeaters.
A big 2nd and 3 here. Ball spotted right at the 55-yard line. Marquette. One man in the backfield. Play action. Just heaves it down. He's got 2 receivers open and nobody around. Zeph Frazier. A 55-yard bomb, but of course, there's a big score. There's a flag. The Hurricanes celebrating anyway, so yeah, and this is going against the Fratmen. That counts. That's a 55-yard touchdown pass. They started on their 1-yard line and got all the way for a touchdown, buddy.
They just pretty much ran all verticals. And the quarterback had time to set his feet, and he pretty much was, okay, who's the most open? And the rule is, if you're even, you're leaving. And that's exactly what the receiver did. He got his heels right on the defender from the slot, running full force forward, and beat him. It was a foot race, a good throw, accelerated all the way through, and it looks like right now at the 11:20 mark in the second quarter, we are going to be sending teams to their bench, and my guess is we're under a lightning delay.
We've been seeing this from our vantage point heading out in Sandwich, heading towards LaSalle. It hasn't been usually any weather that comes in is coming from the Detroit River area in Michigan, but none of that. We've been seeing it directly across from us in Sandwich. And yeah, we were wondering if they were going to call this. They do. There is 11:20 remaining in the second quarter. And that is quite the sour note to send the Fratmen to the locker room, if so. A 21-point deficit. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll give you an update very soon, as this game has been suspended for now. The Hamilton Hurricanes up 20-0 over the Windsor Fratmen. You're watching Windsor Fratmen football here on WE TV.
It's the feeling you get when it all rushes back. The lights, the sounds, the thrill. This memory has been earned and preserved for a lifetime. Every ring has its story. What will yours say?
Manpower. That's our specialty. We use it to build infrastructure, like the $1 billion Parkway. That's real manpower in action. End to end, over 1,000 strong, forming bridges, carving out tunnels, shaping roadways. Our manpower is in demand. Well-trained, highly skilled, tough as nails. We've got what it takes to build your career. A solid career for building a better future. LiUNA. Feel the power.
Welcome back here to the University of Windsor at Alumni Field. Brian Thompson along with Badi Koa, as this game has been suspended so far for a lightning delay with the Hamilton Hurricanes. Nobody saw this coming. A 20-0 lead with 11:20 remaining here in the second quarter. Badi, we'll talk about the first quarter. It's just started off the worst possible way. A 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Tyler Swick. And then Jarrell Gadashaw on I believe it was a 35-yard drive, because Hamilton starting off with penalties, benefiting off them with great field. And then right to end here at the second quarter, Zeph Fraser, a 55-yard bomb from Jake Marquette. It has been all Hamilton and nothing but the Fratmen shooting themselves in the foot so far.
Yeah, I'm going to allude to something you mentioned earlier. You said when we flipped the quarter that it's a quarter that the Fratmen want to forget. I actually can take a slightly different angle. I don't think they want to forget this. They haven't been in a close contested game all season long, really. I know they went up to Hamilton and they narrowly won, but the last handful of weeks has just been, in essence, like playing Pee-wee football. They've had run clocks. They haven't been able to play 4 quarters. Their starters haven't had enough reps. And right now, it's showing. It's showing in their inefficiency. It's showing in their lack of aggression. It's showing in their major mistakes. Now, that being said, the Fratmen, fortunately, are going to have time to recoup and get set for the Hurricanes because of lightning.
Mm-hmm.
As ironic as that might sound, you have the Hurricanes who are going to be slowed down by some lightning, and hopefully the Fratmen are going to be able to come to their senses and realize that we have to play 4 quarters, and we haven't had that chance, and their starters are going to have to battle through this. Big picture, it's one game. It is a game with a lot of at stake, in the sense that you don't want to have or lose that home field advantage. However, it is the shorter of the rides, in the sense that if they have to go somewhere, they're going to Hamilton. So regroup, play this quarter out, play this game out, play everything out. If you come back, great. If you don't, you got to play 4 quarters, because that's what it's going to take to win a championship.
2 big plays rescinded by penalties. Curtis Holmes, a huge touchdown, was taken back for what I believe was holding, and then Joe Ellenberger making a behind-the-back catch at the 1-yard line, and that was sent back. So the Fratmen can't afford to shoot themselves in the foot anymore once this game resumes. The league rule is, I believe, half an hour after the latest lightning strike, and we just saw one now, so it's going to be at least another half an hour until we can get going here. We'll hopefully take a look at the standings. So right now, Windsor, the only undefeated team in the OFC, sitting at 5-0. Hamilton at 5-1. And then you've got a 3-team race for those last playoff spots between GTA, London, and Ottawa. 2 and 3 respectively for Ottawa. GTA sitting at 2 and 4. They have 1 game left in their season. So this is for home field in a possible championship game. And when you see they're the only teams with winning records, you can almost assume it is the championship game preview. But of course, anything can happen in football, Badi.
Yeah, I wouldn't dismiss the Ottawa Sooners. The record only stands at 2 and 3. Ottawa does have a good football team. They're capable of beating both the Hurricanes and the Fratmen. And bottom line is, you don't want to be that 2 seed. You want that 1 seed, because the fall off, I do not believe London or obviously GTA and Niagara are as good as Ottawa. So by having that 1 seed, you avoid Ottawa. If you're going to see a team like Ottawa or Hamilton, you only want to see them in the finals, and you want to make your path the easiest. Right now, the Fratmen control their own fate. Now, that being said, all teams have to play the games, and you still have to go. So if Hamilton does win and both teams finish 7-1, sure, Hamilton might have the tiebreaker, but you still have to play out the season. And Hamilton still has to play London as well, and you never know what could happen in one of those games.
And Ottawa, remember, had to go to the semifinals all the way up to Hamilton and pulled off that big upset to get to the OFC championship game last year against the Fratmen. As we take a look at the schedule for the remaining games, of course, just 2 games remaining in the Fratmen schedule. They head up next week to take on the London Beefeaters. That game will take place at TD Stadium on the campus of Western University. And then their final home game will be seen here on WeTV, a 2 p.m. kickoff against the last place Niagara Raiders, who lost 83-1 just a couple weeks ago against these very Fratmen. And I wish that Fratmen team would show up tonight and get some offense going. But if the score stays the way it is, those are two pivotal games, Biddy.
They are two pivotal games, but so far those are the two games leading into this. They played Niagara 2 weeks ago. They played London last week, and the reality of it is their starters didn't play very much in those games. And even when they did play, they could have made mistakes, but their talent was so superior that those corrections can't be necessarily made because you're playing against an inferior opponent. And right now, they're playing against a team who I know Coach LaChance believes is the next best team. He's not going to dismiss his own team, but he believes Hamilton is the most talented team outside of the Fratmen. And he knew this was not going to be a cakewalk. And the fact is, you have a 2-week stretch of your starters maybe playing a total of 35 total snaps. That's not very good, and you're not going to be very efficient if you can't find your rhythm. And right now, the offense is out of sync. Receivers have gone off sides. 2 receivers were offsides on 2 huge passing plays, and that has been absolutely devastating. Compound that with 5 personal fouls for 75 more yards. My guess is they have more penalty yards than they have total offense.
We certainly want to thank all the Hamilton viewers tuning into this game, and of course all games here on WeTV. But speak here just a minute to our Windsor fans. You know, we've survived quite the week this week. Of fields all across have been flooded. It's been just a terrible week, and I know we've all been looking forward to getting some football. Here's the deal I'm going to make with you guys. Stay tuned. It's only going to be hopefully not much more of a delay. We'll keep you guys posted as soon as possible. Go make a sandwich, you know, take out the trash, and come back. We're going to finish this game. It's going to be one heck of a game. I know there's going to be a lot of great football left. When we come back, we hope to resume the second quarter. You're watching Windsor Fratmen football on WeTV.
It's the feeling you get when it all rushes back. The lights, the sounds, the thrill. This memory has been earned and preserved for a lifetime. Every ring has its story. What will yours say?
Manpower. That's our specialty. We use it to build infrastructure, like the $1 billion Parkway. That's real manpower in action. End to end, over 1,000 strong, forming bridges, carving out tunnels, shaping roadways. Our manpower is in demand. Well-trained, highly skilled, tough as nails. We've got what it takes to build your career. A solid career for building a better future. LiUNA. Feel the power.
some open field on the left side. He's got one man to beat the kicker. And he's driven out by the kicker, Johnny. Well, folks, we told you we'd be back here on WeTV. What we didn't tell you was, unfortunately, this game will not finish tonight. We have, for the second time this year in Windsor, a suspended game. The score will be suspended at Hamilton, leading 20-0. Brian Thompson back on the broadcast here with Biddy Kwa and Biddy. just not the Fratmen's year for weather.
No, this whole weekend has been just an absolute mess. We had the Prime Minister even calling for prayers sent out to the Windsor Essex community. And yeah, the Fratmen now have had two against their two most important opponents, Ottawa and Windsor, or Ottawa and Hamilton. And now we have a formal suspension of the game, as you see some of the replays here going on in the screen.
This is one of the early touchdowns, the 1 yard touchdown run by Jarrell Gaddishaw. That made it 14-0.
Yeah, and in the screen here, this is where, I believe it was Terrence Williams who had a big return, but the Fratmen couldn't capitalize on it.
Austin Lumley had a pretty solid day, no turnovers on his part, and a couple big touchdown throws, unfortunately, rescinded by penalties, which were the big story for the Fratmen for the day. Is a lot of their plays, both to Joe Ellenberger and to number 8 Curtis Holmes, a touchdown play was sent back. Just, if you've been watching the Fratmen for the past 3 years, this is not the Fratmen team you're used to watching. A couple turnovers, just not the Fratmen's day today so far.
Not at all, and that was a call that actually went in the Fratmen's favor. But then you see here on this replay, mishandled snap, and Gaddishaw doesn't panic, handles it, and turns it into what should have been a safety or a possible defensive touchdown, a 35-yard gain. And that's just been the story of the day. Just every break has sort of went Hamilton's way, and the Fratmen, quite frankly, made too many mistakes early. The balance of this game has to be completed because, as you mentioned in our opener, there's a lot at stake here with home field advantage throughout the playoffs for the Ontario Football Conference.
This is the touchdown that was the last play of the game. In fact, when this game eventually does resume, it will resume with an extra point attempt. It's a 55-yard touchdown to Zeph Fraser, who wide open. Dan Fox beaten on the coverage there. That made it 20-0, and they couldn't even get the extra point off to go for the opening touchdown. We didn't get to show on the replay package. The very first play of the game, Tyler Swick returning a kickoff 100 yards to open up the scoring here. Well, we tried, folks. We went to the only dry stadium in the city here at Lancer Field. We certainly want to thank the university for accommodating the Fratmen here today. And unfortunately, we don't have any information on when this game will be picked up, resumed, what this means for the playoff pictures, anything. So stay tuned. Come to we-tv.ca, and we will get you any of the latest information we hear. Of course, if you tune in tomorrow morning on AM 800, local line on sports, I'm sure Dominic Papa will have with Mike LaChance, as he usually does, and hopefully get some information resolved. But as far as we know right now, the Hamilton Hurricanes will take a 20-0 lead into to be determined, Badie, I guess.
Yeah, to be determined. But there, like I mentioned earlier, there's no way this is going to be a called game at this point. At this point of play, there's well over half the game remaining, and there's too much in the balance here. So the one fortunate thing is, because the Ontario Football Conference is still outside of the CJFL for one more year, they could possibly back up the whole week if they really had to, because they don't have to extend to national semifinals. So there is a little bit of time to work with should they have to play this game at the last week of the regular or after the last week of the regular season.
Remaining schedule so far, Hamilton only has one game left. They are off next week. They have one game left at home against the London Beefeaters, which is exactly where the Fratmen are going next week. They will going to TD Stadium, take on those London Beefeaters, and then of course on the 15th, the regular season finale, taking on the Niagara Raiders. Where you can see the lightning still happening here. This game was not going to get in tonight, folks. We're not sure where this is going to fit into the schedule, because the playoffs are scheduled to happen the week after. This could be a weekday game. Just unfortunately no information to pass along at this time. But again, if you come to WeTV's website or tune in tomorrow morning at a local line on sports, we will hopefully have the latest for you. So unfortunately, that is all for tonight. We thank you so much for sticking with us and braving the storm. And of course, to all our listeners and viewers out in Windsor and Essex County, we hope that your basements are dry. We hope that your property is safe, and just get through the storm. Until then, for Badikwa and the great staff here at WeTV, I'm Brian Thompson signing off for tonight, and we hope to resume this game very shortly. Have a great night, folks.